I want to introduce my friend. His name is Matthew Thompson, and we'll let him introduce himself. I can give you a little bit of background. I met him last year. Well, we haven't met in real life yet. It's on the bucket list, right? But
Irish Castle. Come on, let's go.
Yes, we've made it. We're going to manifest it into fruition, Matthew.
I'm ready.
I met him after I joined Schoolers last year, which was the main school community back then. It used to be two different communities. We had the main school community and the school games community. And we chatted in comments and posts and things back and forth. And then I got a chance to chat with him like face to face on a Zoom like this last summer. And he was really paramount as far as like when maybe I should back up for a second. My brain is doing that neurospicy thing again where it's moving way too fast for my mouth. Matthew used to do a podcast for school called School Stories, I think. I think that's what is that what it was called, Matthew? School Stories?
That's what it ended up being called, yeah. I mean, we'll probably talk about that in a few minutes, but yeah, it was called School Stories, yeah.
Okay, so originally he would interview school games winners, but also key people in the school community of interest, all sorts of interesting humans. And that's how I got plugged in as far as like who he was and who he talked to. But then one of my favorite bits was that I like scrolled back on the School Stories channel, on his YouTube channel. And for the first time ever, I found his interview with Seth Godin. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. But that was the first interview that I'd ever watched with somebody who was like a business guru that I actually like identified with. Like I understood where he was coming from, identified and said, ooh, like this is somebody that I could like follow or like take bits and pieces from, because he's not a bro marketer. He's not hustle culture. He's not do all of this stuff all of the time. Like he's just a very interesting person. And so that was amazing to me. And then just being able to connect with Matthew through chat and comments here and there. It's been wild. It's been such a wild year and a half or so.
And you were one of the first people I ever connected with on Skool. You know, it's funny, I was talking to like Lauren Messina and Evelyn and a bunch of other people. Like I joined Skool like February 2024, or actually just, late January. And so, you know, it's funny to hear like, yeah, you know, like I saw you, and I was like, I saw you. It's like, you're one of the first humans I interacted with, and we always saw each other in the comments. We're always trolling Ryan Duncan. And I was like, bro, this is awesome.
Yes, it was super fun. Okay, before we get into the like nitty gritty of like who you are and where you've been and school and how you got here and all that jazz, the most important question of all. Are you ready? Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Yes, 100%. No? I will fight anybody who tries to tell me otherwise. Come at me, bro.
So yes, pineapple does belong on pizza?
Yes, 100%, to the point where if I'm at a place and there is no pineapple there, I'm like, should I even be here?
I am with you. I'm with you. It's crazy. It's crazy that folks don't try pineapple on pizza.
Well, and like to tie it back to Diana here in Germany, so my wife's German, they do this thing around New Year's Eve, which I think they stole from the French, called raclette. So imagine like a big hot plate in the middle of the table, and they like melt cheese. If there's no pineapple for the raclette, Christmas is over. Christmas is destroyed. There needs to be that sweet little tiny bit to counteract the savory. Let's just be real.
Yeah, I think we call that fondue here in the US. It sounds like fondue. Like we have a pot of cheese or something and dip bread and various things.
Now Diana's ready to fight you hardcore.
All right, well, we'll leave that for after the call. Then we can get into that
afterwards. Yeah.
Oh shoot! All right, Matthew, who were you before school, or can you give us a little bit of background into who you were before school and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so who I am before school, during school, and after school is the same person. So I am a dad from Ireland. I have two beautiful daughters, very young, 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. I've been married to my, like I already said, German wife, Jackie. We just celebrated 9 years. Yes, that meant we got married when we were 21, which is kind of scary, but we'll just put that there. We'll park that there. And yeah, I mean, I've always been really, really interested in people. So if you look at my like early career, I would have done a lot of stuff in the nonprofit space. I moved to New York City whenever I was 18. I worked with drug addicts. I worked with homelessness up in Harlem. Did a little bit with gang members. I moved to East Africa. I was shooting documentaries for charities in Rwanda. I did earthquake relief in Nepal, and then I was in Haiti, and I was in all these other places. And I washed back up onto the streets of Belfast, which is where I'm from. Just got married, had no money whatsoever, I needed some cash. So I started working as a bicycle messenger, delivering burritos around the city. And I had the chance to interact with all of these amazing, what I soon knew were called entrepreneurs. And on the bicycle, I was listening to like podcasts. Podcasts were just like in the early days. It was like, you know, trying to discover an ancient treasure, getting an RSS feed. It's like, how the heck do we even find these things? And one of the dudes that I listened to was a guy called Tim Ferriss. And Tim Ferriss, Sarah, just to bring it full circle, introduced me to Seth Godin. And I fell in love with Seth Godin. I fell in love with his way of looking at business. And what you just described there is, I love Seth because so many of the online marketing bros, as you so aptly called them, they focus on tactics. All right, how do we change the color of your button to make sure that 10% more people buy? And it's like, it feels slimy, it feels gross, it feels manipulative, because it is. And what Seth does, he says, look, there's a difference between strategy and tactics. And strategy is the big, massive, overarching picture of where you're going. And he describes culture as people like us do things like this. And when he kind of painted me a picture of how entrepreneurship could be used to change culture and how I forget all the tactics, focus on your strategy, I was like, I'm ready to change the world through entrepreneurship. How the heck do I do it? I have no idea. And so I just did what was in front of me. I started a podcast called Best of Belfast, where we interviewed some of those amazing entrepreneurs I had the chance to meet when I was on the bicycle. And we did like 400 interviews. We accidentally started a podcast agency. We accidentally started scaling a business. It was growing. And I to be honest, I hated the agency. I hated service-based business. I just wanted to do my art, which I felt like was connecting with people and drawing out the treasure in them. And so I was actively looking for something to go all in on that would help me escape the agency. And I saw a guy called Alex Ramosi, put a Skool hat on. I started a 14-day free trial. I met someone called Sarah Hankins. I joined Schoolers. And the first day I put a post in Schoolers being like, we're going to launch the Skool Games podcast. Does anyone want to be interviewed? With no real intention of doing it. And then like hundreds of people in the comments were just like, yeah, do it. And then the next day I interviewed Andrew Kirby. The day after that I interviewed Evelyn Weiss. The day after that I interviewed just all these amazing people on Skool. I fell down the Skool rabbit hole. And just like going through warp speed. I ended up going to LA. I ended up interviewing Sam Ovens, the founder of Skool. He was supposed to have 15 minutes of his time. We were there for like 3 hours. He posted the podcast interview on his YouTube channel, got like 30,000 views. It went crazy. He's like, do you want to come to Vegas? I was like, okay. Hey, babe, I'm not only am I going to go to LA, but I'm also going to go to Vegas. She's like, are you getting paid for this? I'm like, nope. She's like, do you know what you're doing? I'm like, not really, but I think it will work. So we end up going to Vegas. We meet Alex Ramosi. We interview all these amazing people in the flesh, like Max Pearson and Ted Carr and some of these like people who've become very close friends of mine. Skool ends up becoming a client of ours. A few months later, Sam asks me, hey, how would you feel about going all in on Skool and just doing Skool? And I'm like, yes, 100%. And so I just had this incredible year of just interviewing some of the most interesting, diverse entrepreneurs on the planet and riding the wave of this like phenomenal movement that is Skool, who, as you guys are aware, their mission is to help 1 billion people find community, and ties in perfectly with everything that I believe in, everything that I've given my life to at that stage. And so I was just like, yes, sign me up, I'm in.
It's freaking amazing. I fucking love it. So one thing that stuck out to me, like you said, you accidentally started this thing. And I joke all the time about my first business that I started that was it was custom baby carriers with embroidery and whatever. Like I didn't set out to start a business with that. I just started just doing the next thing and people asking and this and that and the other. And I accidentally grew a 6-figure business by myself. And so like I completely get it. It's wild. And it's kind of similar here, like with Skool and what I'm doing. Like, I don't know, like I have an idea of maybe what I'm doing, but like also open to like whatever comes my way and following that path. So did you really just see a Hormozy ad and said, I'm going to join? Or did you come to Skool with, did you want to start a community or you were just curious?
I had no idea what a community was. I had no idea why you would start a community. I mean, I had a Patreon with the Best of Belfast project, so I kind of understood the concept, but I had no intention of like starting an online community, you know? But like so many people when they join Skool, and this is some woo-woo land stuff, that's okay. I think you guys are ready for it. Like I just joined and I don't know, I saw the platform and I just went, this is it. I was like, I don't know if it's the colors. I don't know if it's the layout. I don't know if there's some crazy magic inside the code. But I was like, this is going, like, for me, I always, because I was born in 95. So I saw life before screens and I saw life after screens. You know, I was 11 years old when Steve Jobs brought out the iPhone. And so I was on Bebo and MySpace from a super young age. And I saw, you know, the exciting early stages of Facebook. And I had so much hope for these platforms. I really thought that they would be the great connector of the world. I thought that they would like lead to these beautiful things. And then I saw this like horrific Martin Scorsese level villain arc of where these things just take a terrible, terrible dark turn. And I've always longed for the early days of the internet to be reimagined. For some reason, when I was on Skool, I was like, this is perfect. We're not the product anymore. There's no ads. There's no noise. It's a beautiful, curated, walled garden where you're just connecting like-minded, passionate people. I was like, help 1 billion people find their community. It's like, I'm in. Like, how did I be a part of this? And so the only thing that I knew how to do was start a podcast. And so that's what I did.
That's awesome. So what was if you had to pick one thing, like I have an idea what your answer might be, but I'm still going to ask it. What was one thing that surprised you the most about Skool? Like after you joined that you weren't expecting?
I think just the openness of crazy people like you that were just like, yeah, like, do you want to be friends? And it's just like, we're, cue the High School Musical music, but it's like, we're all in this together. We're all building towards something. We're all working towards something. And I also had never been in a place where so many highly sensitive, community-driven, ENFP style Myers-Briggs people were all showing up in the one place. Because like we talked about, the marketing world had kind of been dominated by all the bros. And then I was like, wow, like these are all like high value, high integrity people that really, really, really care about the people that they're on the earth to serve. I was like, I can get down with that. And so I think it was and trust me, there was a lot of bros on Skool, particularly whenever, I joined in those early days with the early version of the Skool games and all that sort of stuff. But there was always this like incredible golden thread that ran through it all. And I think it was the conversation I had with Evelyn Weiss that really turned all the lights on in my brain, where it's like, here's this mom from Austria making like, I don't know, at that point, it was like $1 trillion a month. And she doesn't sell anything that's above like, I don't know, $60 a month. I was like, what? It's like, I thought that you could only like achieve that level of impact if you were selling like 20K high pressure, high ticket coaching programs that didn't do anything except make people cry. And the fact that I saw someone with just like ultimate integrity stepping into the fullness of who she was, I was like, yo, like this is the strategy that Seth Godin talks about that I feel like I had never been able to actually have a practical tool to make happen.
Yes, that's exactly that's exactly what I thought, but I love hearing your words put to it for sure. All right, we're going to start moving into your newest Skool adventure. But before that, if you had one tip to give to people, because we have people, whether they're here on the live or they're going to watch the YouTube recording, they're either contemplating about starting a school or they just started. What would be your 1 or 2 or maybe 3 tips that you would recommend that they start with as far as building and their adventure of building their own community space?
Number one thing is just care about your people. Like if you care about your people, everything else is figure outable. And so, hey, let's channel the spirit of Hermosi for a second, because he comes at this from a totally different angle. He says, do the things that are unscalable. And for someone who is like deeply compassionate, deeply sensitive, which I think everyone in your community on this call are, like, don't be afraid to do extremely unscalable things because you care about these people so much. It's like hop on calls with them, like spend a lot of time messaging them, put your heart into recording a classroom video and then share it with 3 people and get them to tear it to shreds and then make it better because you care about the next set of people that's going to come through it. And so this is definitely like, I had the chance to work closely with Sam, the founder, whenever I was at Skool. And like, I saw him epitomize this more than any entrepreneur I've ever seen in my life. Like a huge part of his day, if not most of his day, is just spent talking to people. It's like talking to customers. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Do you think this could be better? Oh, really interesting idea. Okay, what about this? What about that? And he just like, a lot of people look at Sam and are like, he's a genius. He comes up with all these amazing ideas. And yes, he 100% is one of the greats whenever it comes to innovation and genius level brains. And he gets all of his ideas from the community. That's the smart thing, is he knows that the customer will show you what they want. And so when it comes to like your offer, when it comes to your VSL, when it comes to your about page value stack and all of this stuff that you can get lost in the sauce with, it's like, just ask your people and they will literally tell you what to build. Even today, like there's a guy in our community and he was like, he expressed a desire for like a higher level package. And I was just like, what do you want? And then I sent him like 3 bullet points. Does this look right? And he's like, oh, yeah, that's really good. But I also would like this. Type, send it back. Is this what you want? And it's back and forth. And then I ask him, what would you pay for this? And he's like, oh, I would pay this. And I'm like, whoa, that's more than I would have charged you. Very interesting. Okay, blah, blah, blah. But let the community lead the way and they will show you what they want. And that is, that's what I think community leadership is all about.
Yes, Absolutely. I disagree with you about a value stack, but we can get into that a whole other day.
Oh, I actually think value stacks are like really, really silly. But when it comes to like the actual things that you have on your about page, like let your people tell you, you know. And one of the easiest things to do is like when someone joins, just ask them a question, why did you join? And they'll usually say, I joined to, let's pull something like random out of the air, to learn how to organize my socks properly. Oh, wow. Guess what's going to be on your about page now? This community will help you organize your socks properly. It's like genius.
In their words too, not,
Yes.
oh, I'm going to magically pull socks and blah, 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 blah. No,
Yeah.
you just use their words.
Yes.
Yep. That's what makes it easy. Okay, we're going to dive into the next question. So, why did you start your current school adventure, your current new school community?
Yeah, so this is a long story, which I will try to condense in a short story. So, bit of context, bit of background. I was full-time with school. I had been asked to move to LA, and I got my family, like wife, 2 kids, our German mother and father-in-law, and friends of ours. We all rocked up to LA for 5 weeks, and we were like looking for places to live, and we were like, are we going to move here? Is this what we're going to do? Is this what we're going to do? And basically at the end of the trip, we were like, nope, we're not going to move here. This is not what the universe has for us. And so I like went back to Ireland devastated. I was like, but what about the vision to help 1 billion people find community? And what about like this big life path that I was supposed to be on? And so I stepped back from my role at school. I maintained an advisory position, but I was out of the inner circle. I was out of the full-time thing, and I was crushed. I was so sad because I thought that that's the direction my life was going to go. And so I went into, there's a quote that I love from a guy called Joseph Campbell. And he says, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. And I knew that I was going into a cave, and I was like stubbornly, like, I was like, no, I'm not going to find anything in the cave. I just want to be miserable. And I just had a sense. It's like, I know that whatever I'm going to find in here is going to be ultimately the treasure that I'm supposed to give in this next season. And so long story short, I met with a friend of mine who's kind of like a younger brother, and he's like, dude, you're like, and he thinks like I'm like a business genius, right? Just because he's a few years younger. He's like, dude, like you've got all this time in the world, you've got all this success, you can do anything you want to do. Like, what are you going to do next? And I was like, you don't know. And he's like, well, if it could be anything in the world, what would it be? I was like, well, I've always wanted to help people reduce their screen time. And I have this huge context where it's like, I was 11 years old. I got an iPhone. I got exposed to, I don't know how open I can be in this setting, but let's just say extremely explicit content online from a young age that young men should never be exposed to. I think you get the drift. And became addicted to this, became addicted to video games. And I saw my whole life just kind of get turned upside down and inside out by these online digital forces that I used to be so excited about that I thought would lead humanity to a wonderful place. And, we can talk about why all that happened, maybe later on or maybe never at all. And so I always had this thing, I went on a bit of a journey myself. Like I got a dumb phone, and I used to be an Instagram influencer, and I deleted my Instagram and I deleted my LinkedIn, and I kind of started going on this like digital minimalism quest. And as a result, I started helping families and teenagers and young people like over the course of my career, just like little steps, little tweaks, little freedom. Interesting side quest. I did a PhD in studying how AI algorithms manipulate and control humans. And so that was deeply into it. I did like this TEDx talk, I think 7 years ago, all about this sort of stuff. And so I was like, this is my passion. This is my passion. But hey, like, you're not supposed to like give your life fully over to your passion. You have to like have a job or something, right? And so this came full circle for me. And it was like, he's like, dude, you're the perfect person to start this thing. Like, how would you do it? And I was like, oh, it's really easy. First I would bing, and then I would bang, and then I would bing, bing, bong, and then I would skibibi, bing, 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 bing. He's like, dude, when are you starting? And I was like, I'm going to start today. And so I went home. I opened a $9 Skool community because I'm like, I've got nothing else. I just know how to use Skool, so I guess I'll use Skool. And, a few days later, this teenage boy reached out to me and he said, hey, I'm really, really struggling. All of my friends and all of my classmates, they're getting jobs. They're moving on to university. I'm 18 years old. I'm stuck here in my house. I feel like my life is going down a dark path. I don't think I'm going to become the man and the husband and the father that I want to be if I keep playing video games. Can you please help me? And I was like, if I make like a 7-day challenge for you, would you go through it? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, okay, you're a gamer, right? He's like, yes. I'm like, right. If you make it to the 7th day, I'll give you $100. He's like, no way, dude. Is this a scam? Like, are you serious? I'm like, well, there's only one way to find out. And so I said, I'm going to charge you. You have to pay something because you need to be committed. I said, I'm going to charge you $1. And if you make it to the end, I'll give you $100. Done. So he joins the community. My wife's on holiday. I've got the girls. We're like out on the beach every single day. So I've got no time to like chill with this guy. Tyler was his name. So I wake up at 5 a.m. and I just record a quick Loom video. I put it in the classroom and then he goes through it. And by the end of the 7 days, he had reduced his screen time by 8 hours a day. He got back 131 days of his life a year. He's posted videos with his girlfriend. He's like, my girlfriend says to thank you. She's got her boyfriend back. Like, I'm walking around, I'm hearing the birds singing. I feel like Snow White all of a sudden. Like, what's happening to me? And I'm like, bro, this is the way you're supposed to live. And while Tyler was going through the challenge, I'm sitting at my desk and I hear ka-ching. And I'm like, oh. I don't know if you've ever been like jump scared by your ka-ching. When someone joins your community on Skool, you get a ka-ching. And I'm like quickly going to the members. I'm like, who is it? And this random dude called Isaac had joined. And I sent a message, you can't be in here, bro. This is just for Tyler. This is like not open to the public, man. And he's like, please don't kick me out. I need this. Please let me go through it. I'm like, how did you find this thing? And he's like, I typed in business dashboard into Skool Discovery. And I'm like, what? And he says, please let me stay. And I say, all right, if you make it to day 7, I'll give you $100. So he goes through the challenge. He reduces his screen time by 2 hours per day, which is 1 month a year. He's maybe in his 40s. He's got 4 kids. And I was like, here is a teenage boy. And here is a father of 4. And it's worked for both of them. I was like, that doesn't happen very often. And then more people started to join, same sort of thing. Results were crazy. And I was like, oh, snap. Have I accidentally like found something like purely coincidentally here? And so I started to formalize it a little bit. I started to invite my like close friends and family. I take them through in 1 week cohort. Every single time a cohort goes through, I get mad feedback. I redo everything. And over the course of 7 weeks, I've like redone this 7-day challenge like 7 times. And it's to the point where it's like, wow, this thing is like as dialed in as I can get it without going crazy and like changing commas and full stops that don't really make a difference. And then, yeah, I started reaching out to some more people. It started to be more successful. People started inviting their friends, and it's kind of snowballed from there.
That bit about like you set it up, but you honored that small voice, right? And your friend was paramount. And he's like, you know, to be that mirror, to be like, you know, what do you want? Like, what is your passion and your purpose? Like, you know, and what are you freaking waiting for? And you're like, oh, I'm gonna start now. And then you know, have this teenager come and do that, but then God or the universe is like, hey, wait, you're doing what you're supposed to, even though it's messy as hell. I'm gonna send you another one, because we all love Skool Search. Like, it's great, but like sometimes you get the funniest results, but like that's freaking amazing that this father of 4 like found your space and then was able to walk through it and get those results and get time back with his family and things like that. Like, I love stories like that so very much.
As I was kind of on the road, this is always the way, right? As you're on the road, it's like fellow travelers meet you, allies, partners, like people that you never would have like met off your own accord. And along the way, like we got like super clear on what our vision is. And so like now our vision is to cut 1 billion hours of screen time, which sounds bananas in pajamas coming down the stairs, but it's 100,000 years of human potential. And so this is where like my real passion comes in, where it's like 100,000 years like to reclaim from big tech and to reinvest back into like our friends, our families, our communities, our like soul's work that we are here on the earth to do. And the crazy thing is, like when I said that, you know, when that kind of like came to me, I was like, oh, it's so hard. How will we ever do it, bro? And then I was just like chatting to ChatGPT one day, you know, as you do. And I was like, like, okay, so if like on average, everyone who goes through the free 7-day challenge, if they reduce their screen time by like 2.4 hours, like how many days a month is that? And it's like 35 days a month. I'm like, or 35 days a year. I'm like, okay. And so let's just pretend, because you've been through the challenge, Sarah, like the things that we teach are like very simple because it was designed for a 17-year-old boy to go through, right? So I accidentally did the Hormozy thing where it's like least amount of effort, most amount of results, right? And we call them domino decisions. And I was like, okay, let's say that like if you go through the challenge and you keep those 3 fundamental basic things over the course of 50 years, you know, hopefully you live longer than 50 years, but you know what I'm saying? I was like, how many people would need to go through the free 7-day challenge? And the answer is 25,000 people. And I was like, yo, we can reach 25,000 people. It's like, I don't know about 1 million people. I don't know about 1 trillion people. It's like, but 25,000 people, it's like, bro, it's half of a Taylor Swift concert. Like, this is like half of an American college football stadium that I've never seen, but I've heard about. It's like, and if every single person that goes through the free 7-day challenge, if they invited 3 of their friends, it would take 12 weeks to achieve that goal. And so now I'm like, yo, this is actually our mission for the next 3 years. And we believe that like the Skool community can achieve that vision in a 3-year period, which allows us to dream like even bigger for like the 10-year vision and the ultimate vision. But you see how like, again, this is so key for all of the community owners on the call. Like the reason why Facebook was able to grow so quickly on TikTok and Instagram and all these kind of like, you know, dark wizards is because of the network effect. And our communities can grow the same way if we set things up in a very intentional way. We provide immense value and we encourage people to bring the others along in their lives. Seth Godin talks about finding the others. If you can be like a Gandalf for the people in your life, and if your community can be a space to help people do that, it's like these things can grow virally. And so, yeah, I've yet to see a community on Skool go viral, but I'm really excited for whenever it does because it's totally possible the way it's all built and it's all designed.
Just touching back on that, like building the culture and moving slow because it's going to feel slow. Like, and you and I have talked about that. And I think I've talked about it with the folks in my group too. Like, it's really hard at the beginning because it feels so slow and it feels like it's not working. And then you have that messy middle part where it's just like, it feels like you're taking steps in the dark and you're like, do I know what I'm doing? Like, am I taking the right step or not? And that's why community is so important. So you have other folks that can like cheer you on and be like, let's go, come on, we keep going. Because if you don't quit, you do reach that light at the end of the tunnel. Or the other, not allegory, other story that I like to compare it to is like gardening, right? Like you have to prep the bed and then you plant the seeds and then you have to wait for them to sprout. And you have to continue to weed and water and make sure they're getting light and all of this stuff. And then you finally get it growing. And then especially if it's tomatoes, you finally like, you start seeing the little green balls, right? Like the little green tomatoes coming. Oh, it's going to be, you know, fabulous. It's going to happen soon. I'm going to be like drowning in tomatoes. And then they get big and then they're green. And then you have to wait like 4 more weeks before they actually turn the color that they're supposed to. And then you get a few on your kitchen table, but then not too much longer after that, your whole table is covered with tomatoes, right? But like, it's a whole process, and building a business is very similar to that for sure. But building the culture.
Like you just hit something crazy, which I never thought of before. Like your only job as a community owner is to make sure the soil's good. Like take care of the weeds, make sure the soil's good, and things will just grow. Yes, it will take time, but it will grow.
Yep. It's as long as you don't give up.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's dive into like, why have you set up your community the way you did? Like, yes, you touched on that you built this challenge for a 17-year-old boy, which is amazing. But like, you also did the reiterations and you did things intentionally. Can you explain a little bit like how you have it set up? Yes, you've got the 7-day free challenge and all of that sort of thing. But can you go into a little bit more detail on how you've got it set up and why? Like, what's important so that those that are watching, like that are trying to figure out how to situate their classroom or what to put in the classroom and what to, you know, do that, like give them little tips kind of deal.
Yeah, I think it would be, do I have your permission just to share the classroom? Can I just show you? Yeah, okay.
How about it?
The way that I set it up, because it was for this teenage guy, is that it was supposed to be highly gamified, right? Because he's a gamer. And I was like, you know, I have this thing in my head where it's like, you know, if big tech uses gamification and rewards, like to nudge us down the spiral staircase, there's this thing called nudge theory. Has anyone ever heard of nudge theory before? So nudge theory is like a set of psychological tools and practices that are just neutral. It's how human beings take action. It's how like behavior change actually occurs. And so some really, really, you know, smart fancy pants people, they discovered all of these just like realities of humanity. And then big tech just like picked up all the tools and we're like, yes, excellent. Now we have them at our disposal. But they're neutral tools. They can be used for good. They can be used for harm. It's kind of like Star Wars, like a lightsaber. You can either have like a blue lightsaber or you can have a red lightsaber. You can use the light side of the force or you can use the dark side of the force. And so one of the analogies that I share quite a lot with any types of addiction is this idea of a spiral staircase. Because when you're trying to change any pattern of behavior, it can feel like you're going round and around and around and around in circles. And very often you are, but it's more helpful to think about it as a spiral staircase, because as long as you're spiraling in the right direction, you actually are moving up. You're moving towards your goal, and eventually you will step out of the spiral staircase towards freedom. Now, the same is also true. You can spiral down the staircase, and this is using nudge theory. This is what big tech does. So, you know, they say, come, connect with your friends. It will make you feel less lonely. And the next thing you know, oh, how peculiar. Not very many of your friends are showing up on your feed anymore. Wow, how unusual. Wow, look at that. Did you see this horrific news incident that's happened around the world? And all of a sudden, you're actually spending less time with your friends, you're spending more time with strangers, you're spending more time with all this content, blah, 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 blah. So big tech, you know, they'll use all sorts of stuff to nudge you down the spiral staircase. They'll make it part of your routine, part of your life, etc., etc., etc. So I was like, how do we create a community that is all about freedom, that taps into the gamification and the realities of the human brain to lead people up the spiral staircase? And so I'll show you a couple of things that we've done. So whenever you join the community, and the community is yes, we use a 7-day free trial. And on the About page, the only thing that we talk about is the 7-day free trial. It's literally just like, this 7-day free 7-day challenge will help you get 1 month of free time of your life back a year. It's like, we're not talking about everything that happens after the 7 days. We're just trying to convince people to take the first step. So we do the classic thing where it's like, you don't need to delete any apps, you don't need to install any blockers, you don't need to give up anything that you love. And then we call it out. Keep Netflix, keep video games, keep social media. It only takes 15 minutes a day to play. AKA, this will not cost you very much time. On the 7th day, you're automatically entered into a $1,000 giveaway. Hey, here's a reward. Here's something to play towards. Here's something to keep you invested moving forward. Blah, 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 blah. So whenever you join the challenge in the classroom, the only thing that's open is the 7-day challenge. And so when you tap into the 7-day challenge, the only thing that you can do is watch the first day. All of these are locked. And they're all get put out on like using the drip feature on Skool. And when you join, so everything is gamified. So it says this is open, and this says unlocks after 6 days. This says unlocks after 7 days. This says unlocked after 31 days, unlocked after 60 days, unlocked after 90 days. So every day when you come into the classroom, you see the numbers going down. You see that level of progression. I don't know, did anyone ever play Farmville on Facebook? This is a real niche thing. Okay, Judd is nodding her head. So Farmville, the reason why Farmville was so successful is because they knew that we humans like to see things grow over a period of time, and see Faith clapping her hands there as well. And so, okay, how do we build this into a community that changes people's lives? At the end of the 7-day challenge, whenever you make a daily check-in post, and so after every single day, you're encouraged to make a post. So here's Thomas here, he's just made his. It's literally just like, have you taken action in the video? Do you need any help with anything? If so, our team will respond back to you and help you along the way. So we assign people like a personal screen time coach. Every single day they post, they get a little bit of feedback, they get a little bit of support. It's like a champion and a cheerleader cheering them on. So they're highly supported on the journey. That's gamified, that's fun, and set up in a way where they see results happening every single day. Once you finish your 7th day, you automatically get entered into the $1,000 giveaway, which again is highly gamified because we say each daily check-in post is like a little raffle ticket into next week's giveaway. So once you finish the first week, every single post you make after that gives you an entry into the competition. And so you're rewarded for taking action, you're rewarded for progression, you're rewarded for getting your time back. And then, you know, that culture that you're talking about, obviously every Skool community has a win category. And so it's like, here's some day 14 people, like Arden here, he cut his screen time by 5 hours a day, which is 84 days of freedom. Shafiq is 5 hours. If I find some 7-day people, here's Rohan, reduced by 4 hours a day. Here's Rick, reduced his by 11.5 hours a day. This is, you know, an extreme result. But you just this amazing culture of celebration. So everyone's celebrating each other, like with the wins. Whenever the weekly competition happens, everyone's celebrating the winner. They're like, yeah, how exciting! This is so cool. This is so cool. And so creating a culture of fun and creating a culture where everyone is celebrating and supporting each other. For me as a community owner, it's back to that good soil. It's like, here is a place where people can get great results, but also a place where we're all in this together, we're cheering each other on, and the momentum that brings is just like really, really exciting.
My brain just went, this is like true neurospicy fashion, because like I was having you share your story, and then I was like, well, you know, how like tips for building culture in your group, and why do you set your stuff up? And now I'm going to come back to your adventure and like what you're doing now. What makes this different from every other, like a lot of my folks here and that will watch the recording are very neurospicy, and they've tried a lot of those, you know, tips and tricks and like apps and things that are supposed to help cut screen time, but it didn't work or they weren't able to stick with it. What makes this different?
I think like the reality is we all know the actions that we need to take. We've heard them a million times on podcasts, right? So a really like simple one. I actually just got done recording this video for the later part of the program. So this happens, I think, around day 15. It's like, hey, let's set a buffer in the morning and in the evening. And like, how many times have you heard, don't touch your phone when you wake up. Don't let your phone be the last thing that you do before you go to sleep. And it's like, it's so hard to actually do that because you're so tapped into that snare of distraction and that spiral staircase that you have you on. And so it's not that we don't know what to do. It's just we don't have a container or a space that encourages us and holds our hands to take the action. And so I personally think that like the idea of having a 1 hour screen free buffer at the start and the end of your day is phenomenal and totally unrealistic for most people because they're not ready for it yet. It's like literally saying, it's like, oh, okay, bro, you want to get in shape? Okay, cool. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to want to bench press 200 kg and you're going to want to do that for like 8 reps. It's like, no, bro, like you're going to get crushed. And so it's like, what is the minimal viable action that somebody needs to take? And this is please, if there's anything that you like take from our time together here today, it's this, right? So every single video in your classroom should be a mini sales pitch to get people to take one action. And again, if we channel the spirit of Alex, something that he says is, if you have watched a piece of educational content and you have not taken action afterwards, you have not been educated, you have been entertained. And so all of us as community owners that are leading the charge on trying to, lead people into transformation, our job is to make content that changes actions, that changes behavior, that gets people to do something. And what we do typically in our courses and everything is we have these like 2 hour long videos and we just dump all this information on people. And at the end, the people go, wow, that was so informative. And then they go and have their dinner and they never do anything. And so minimal viable action. What is the smallest amount of action someone can take to get the biggest result? And so, we can pick like any niche on the planet. Someone in the chat or someone call out, like, tell me what your niche is. And we'll give you an example of like what a minimal viable action will be. Or maybe you can tell us. Oh my goodness, he went off script. Audience participation. Is that supposed to happen?
Audience participation is fine. Like that was going to happen.
Okay, dating after divorce, right? So let's just say that I know what I'm talking about in this niche, okay? It's like maybe the first thing that you need to do to date after divorce. Mary Beth, do you encourage people to use dating apps? Is that part of your like framework? No? How do you get people to connect with each other? You can use your human voice.
It's more they come in wanting to know where to meet their next their love of their life, a high quality person. But I want to teach them that it's not about where to look, but changing your inside and getting rid of everything. So I'm having a hard time what my message is and how to, because if I say you need to fix you first, they may all leave because that's really what they come in for. So
but this is actually a really good point, because like, why do people join your community? What do they really want?
They want a relationship.
Right. And so what we typically do is we say, hey, do you want this thing? And then we get people in and then we say, oh, like that thing that you joined for, it's like, oh, like, let's just put that to the side. What you really need is to do something that you really, really, really don't want to do. And so I'm not saying like you need to change your whole program. I'm just using this as an example. It's like, imagine if, so let's say at the end that someone's done their inner work, where is a place that you would encourage people to meet a significant other?
I don't. It's more like you'll attract somebody because your energy is going to be at a higher level, and so that because no matter where you are in your healing, you're going to attract that same. So you're attracting an unavailable partner because you're unavailable, and so if you want to attract the available partner, you need to grow and get rid of all that stuff first, and that might take years.
For sure.
But I don't want to say that.
Yeah. And I'm like fully bought in with what you're saying, right? I actually believe 100%. That's how I met my wife, and I wasn't ready to meet my wife until I'd done the healing work and all this sort of stuff. But imagine that someone comes into your community and you just give them something to satisfy the reason that they came in for without jeopardizing your integrity, without jeopardizing your program. Imagine if you tell them, I'm just going to pull a rabbit out of a hat right now, okay? It's not going to be right, but let's just pretend for the example. Imagine that deep down in your core, you believe that the best place to meet someone is at a bowling club, right? You say, okay, so our first day is we're going to find all the local bowling clubs in your area, and we're going to take out a bowling membership. And so that way you'll be around the opportunity to meet your dream partner. Have you done that? Have you taken out your bowling ship? They're like, yes, I'm taking action. I'm going to meet my dream partner. Yeah. And then they get to video 2 and they're like, and you're like, hey, by the way, if you really want to make it work, whenever you get to the bowling club, there's a few things that I would really encourage you to take care of first. And then you hit them with the stuff that they really need to do. And so again, this sounds like a strange word to say, but I learned this from a really smart guy in school. He calls it Trojan horsing transformation. So people will join your community for something, and you need to satisfy that urge. It's kind of like the same thinking behind, you know, whenever a YouTube video, your first few seconds should confirm the title and the thumbnail, because there's a reason why people clicked in the first place. And if you don't satisfy that psychological need, they will bounce straight away. They'll be like, oh, that's not why I'm here. And so you need to walk a delicate, beautiful tightrope balance of giving people what they think they want in the moment long enough for them to stick around, so that you can give them what they truly need. And this dance between giving people what they want versus what they need is the delicate, beautiful job of creating good soil for your community, just like Sarah was saying. And so what is the quick win? What is that little bit of dopamine that they can see? There's like some sort of action straight away. And it could be something that doesn't actually lead to anything. It could be, okay, make a list of 5 people in your life who you think would be a good fit for you. Is that a viable strategy to find a lifelong partner after divorce? Probably not, but will it make them feel like they're taking action towards a certain direction? Yes. And so don't listen to like the words that I've actually said, like listen to the spirit behind them. I think you got it. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's almost kind of like offer masking, but like it's not just on your about page. It's like the first taste that they get too, but also like it satisfies their need, but also isn't like a complete bait and switch. So like when I started the space you all are in now, like my about page was like all about mindset and this and that and the other. And nobody was like, everybody knows they need mindset work, but nobody wants to join a space mostly for that. Right. And so then that's where I came up with, that's why I asked you all when we're looking at about pages, instead of a tool or method, which mindset is kind of a method or a tool. Like once you fix that, then what? So that, like we fix this so that, and then you focus on what's on the other side of that on your about page, right? And so even then, like as the group has like morphed over the last year, we still, the bulk of what we do on like the fix your funk calls and like what we do in the community is helping you to actually take the messy action, like Matthew was saying, right? Like we all know what we need to do, but we have a hard time doing it. Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we do need that like echo, not an echo chamber, that mirror and the sounding board, right? Sometimes we do need that, but oftentimes we just need, you know, somebody to rally us and let's go, let's have fun, right? And there are tools, right? Like there are things to help you make money in my classroom and in the challenge and all of this stuff. But the bulk of like what it is that we have created, the culture, right, is the mindset and the community itself, which I freaking love. But I want to hop in because I've been like, go ahead, Matthew, were you going to say something?
I was going to say like Mary Beth, like something that I did, like, because I tried to do something like this a while ago. And my thing was, I'm going to get 1 million parents to throw away their smartphones and get a dumb phone. That's what I thought people needed. And they did not want that at all. And it was only the accidental serendipity of this teenage boy going through the program that made me see it's like, oh, least amount of effort, most amount of results. And so on the about page, it's not like, okay, screen time challenge, get a month of your life back. Cool. Would you like to deal with your deep father wound that you have in your life? Like, no, I don't want to do that, bro. But perhaps if you go on a full 90-day journey and you start to get results and you start to build confidence and you start to do this, and I'm not saying that you're going to heal your father wound as part of the challenge, just a rabbit I pulled out of the hat, but it's taking people on the journey. And the same way that we get to know people, you know, in intimate relationships, it's a slow progress. I think we need to take our community members on that journey as well, where we can't dump everything on them at once. It's like we build trust. We allow them to get to know us at a reasonable pace. We get to know them. And then once that trust is established, once they have all the proof, once they have the results that they already have, then you can like go on a massive journey. And one more thing I just want to say, Sarah, really quick, is the way I've set up this community is, so, you know, we all remember the info industry like 20 years ago, where it's like you'd land on a massive web page that would scroll for like 15 minutes. They would sell you a $50 CD or a videotape because information was very, very scarce, right? Then the internet happened and information became readily available. Alex Ramosey's great contribution to the field has been give the information away for free and sell the implementation. I think, now I'm prepared to be wrong, okay? I think we're at the cusp of another shift because the trust crisis is so big and people are so skeptical about everything. I think the next meta is give the transformation away for free and then sell the ability to maintain it. And so one of the reasons why I've set up the community in such a way, like with the 7-day free trial, is any person on the planet can go through the 7-day trial. I don't give a crap if people cancel their trial. I'm happy if people go through it, they get the dominoes and they say, see you later. I'm not going to experience these benefits for my whole life. I'm like, great. I want it to be accessible for people. But for those who want to really, really go deeper, they want to hold on to the results that they have, there is an opportunity to keep on going. And so you can stay on after the trial. You can go through the 90 days. But, you know, again, back to you, Mary Beth, it's like, what is a transformation that you can give people away for free? You know, Alex talks about the first step in a multi-step process. And so once someone gets those results, in this stupid example, once they've signed up to the bowling membership, they want to know the next bit, which is how do you have a conversation? How do you strike up a conversation with someone whenever you're bowling, right? And so, yeah, that's something I'd like to leave to think about as well. It's like, how can you give the transformation away for free? Because that's the ultimate proof. You know, when people get to the end of the 7-day challenge, they're like, I have saved 2 months of my life every year. Do you think that they believe that we can help them keep those results? Well, you know what I mean? It's like, of course they do. And so, you know, a lot of people, they decide to stay. Some people decide not to stay, and that's all good. We're ultimately about the mission. We're about being a force for good in the world. And yeah, just something to think about.
That's why I'm a big proponent of, like, I do calls in my free space. Like, I don't do them weekly, but I do them monthly, right? So everybody can get a taste of what it's like to have that and imagine what it's like every week, right? And the low ticket or whatever. Like, you don't have to. Like, I'm super stoked that everybody is in my free space, and then I get to hang out and chat and help people, and it's amazing. And people get great wins. But if they want more, then they can go, you know, to get more, and that's fine. Like, there's no pressure, no nothing else. And like, I'm a huge proponent of that. And I wanted to share a little bit because Matthew reached out to me. Has it been like 3 or 4 weeks ago? Something like that. It was like, hey, so, and I talked to my husband and he wasn't on board. So it was just me that went through, which is fine because like Matthew likes to talk about, it's like a ripple effect, right? Like when I change things, it ripples out to the hubs and it ripples out to the children, and all of my family is neurospicy. Like hubs is ADHD, like all of the kids are either way, you know, which way or the other. And so like walking through that challenge myself, like I was super amazed about how simple it was. And how like fun, like it's Lord of the Rings themed, which the videos, but like they're 10 minutes or less. And then the steps are really easy and simple. And I was just like, I have to be able to share this with my neurospicy friends because like, this is amazing. And it exemplifies the bit about where I'm always about, like Matthew was talking about, I call it dipping your toes in, right? Like when we talk a lot about our nervous system and things like that, we gently push on the growth edges, because if you try to like jump full in and do a cannonball, your body's just going to be like no. And then you're going to be like, I can't do that. So that's why it's super important to dip your toes in. And he's like, he's got it pretty well nailed down to be able to dip your toes in. And it feels almost easy. There are little bits here and there that kind of push those growth edges, but it's not a huge deal. And I've been on a journey myself, I guess, for the last however many years. Like, yes, I'm on my phone off and on throughout the day, and I do work from my phone and things like that. But I don't have time. I don't have time to play video games. Like, I do set aside time occasionally, or like watching a movie or The Office reruns with my hubs in the evening. Do set time for, but you know, I started out a little bit lower than maybe what the average is for people, but I still cut a half hour. Like I went through for a week and I cut off a half hour a day. Was it a half hour a day, Matthew? I think so, something like that. So it wasn't a huge turnaround, but it was still a small improvement, and that's completely okay for me. And you know, I'm still in there, and I had to take a pause for a minute because I've got too many balls juggling in the air. So, but I'm stoked and excited to come back. Like whenever I'm ready to like come back, I could just jump right back in to the next day if I want, or I could start all over again, or, you know, so there's no high pressure. There's no like, well, you have to do it completely this way. Like these are like the general guidelines, like that we recommend kind of thing, easy to dip your toes into. And then you can pick and choose what works for you and see how it works. And then if you decide, well, that didn't work for me the way I wanted it to, I can make adjustments. Right. So that's why I super love the space and the challenge.
Yeah, we always say, like, you know, it's choose your own adventure.
Yep.
You know? Like you can go at your own pace, you can do what you want. And then the other thing that's really important to say is, like, we make it really clear on the about page. Like if people accidentally, like if they forget to cancel, or if they take a few days longer to complete the 7-day challenge, we just say, literally just DM me and we'll refund you. It's like making people feel safe, where it's like life gets in the way. It's all good. Like ultimately, like we want you to experience the transformation, because that's also what will lead for you to like share it with the people in your life. And so it's like, if we can just pass the treasure on, like that's the aim of the game. And like, it always comes back to help you in some sort of a way. And so just having that like openness to be like, used by the universe, I think is like a helpful posture to have. It's particularly with this community sort of mindset and business model.
So I'm going to post the link to the group in the comments of the chat here. I'll put it in the post probably too in the free group. Anyway, does anybody have any questions for Matthew that you would like to ask? Go ahead and unmute, or if we get a whole bunch all at once, maybe raise your hand, but y'all know what to do.
Of the 7-day challenge, I especially appreciated yours, like the step that I took during my first 2 days. I knew that I needed to let go of a game phone that I had, because it was just constant dopamine, and it was like holding me back from so much. And so I used the first 2 days to be like, no, I'm going to take this seriously and just let it go. So I let the battery die. It was a huge milestone. And it's right, seriously. And it has already given me so much time back. I have a question about setting up a 7-day challenge though, because I have it's kind of the same idea as yours. And I got it through this community called the Reward Funnel. And so it's 7 days. And what I hear you saying is you have to get to the real reason why people are there. And so I thought the real reason that people were going through or would go through my 7-day challenge was to get clarity with their client. It's for new coaches who need clarity on who their client is, what their offer is, and what their coaching style is. So it's literally 4 steps plus an introduction. So 5 steps completely for 7 days. I gave that buffer because life and one of the activities is a lot on chat. It's a lot of chatting with your ideal client just to do a deep dive. And so some people wouldn't. I would dive an hour or 2 in chat, but some people just don't have that kind of time. And so I a little bit extra. But then you have me thinking, is there some other transformation that I'm missing in my idea that they would come for clarity?
Yeah.
How do I figure that out?
Yeah, first of all, hello, Faith. This is the first time we've interacted live after many, many eons of school comments and DMs. This is really cool.
Yeah.
So the first thing I would say, other than nice to meet you properly, is don't be afraid to dream really, really big for what your transformation is. And it actually, Seth Godin talks about putting yourself on the hook. So I put myself on the hook and I say on average, if you go through this challenge, you'll see a month of your life a year. That's a stupidly big promise. And actually, I had to lie on the about page because the average is way higher than 2.3 hours, but people just wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
So I had to hide the results. And so imagine for you, Faith, I'm going to say something wild, but imagine if inside that 7-day free trial, they get their first client. Again, just reach for this, aim for the moon, and if you fall, you land on the stars, right? But imagine if a coach can come in, you can help them with their offer. And just like we were talking with Mary Beth, most people think that their offer is incredible. They think it's dialed in. They think it's perfect. They're like, I don't know why no one's buying this. The offer's perfect. And it's yeah, your offer sucks, bro.
No, I'm under no illusions, Matthew.
Yeah. And so imagine if you have a process where, it's day 1, you get really clear on a very simple transformation offer that you can provide a client. Day 2, you make a list of 10 clients that you can reach out to. Day 3, you reach out to those clients. Day 4, you close those clients. And it could even be a beta client. So, if you follow Alex Hormozi's $100 million lead framework, it's most of these people, they just need to work with people for free, which also is easier for you to deliver that result because it's not they're going to make 5K. But if I join a free 7-day challenge and all of a sudden my offer is pumping, I'm reaching out to clients and I get 1 or 2 beta clients at the end of the 7-day challenge, how much confidence do I have that Faith is going to help me build my business? It's whoosh. So I would say it's super, super clear on a massive outcome that you can provide people for free. Because worst case scenario, they'll get a beta client and have confidence. Best case scenario, they'll get a paying client, which will pay for them to pay you to take them to the next step.
Okay.
But it's a lot of work. And exactly how you would do this is if you would design a 4-step process or whatever, you yourself would take let's say 3 people a week through it for free until you get to the point where all 3 people are getting the result. And then, you have something that you can start to invite more people through. I'm not going to lie to you, it is a donkey stupid amount of work to get that. It took me 8 weeks, and I was really doing it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it'll take time.
Okay. Well, I've got time.
100%.
100%. No more game phones, so I have plenty of time.
Let's go.
Let's go. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Really quick, I'm going to answer two. Oh, sorry. I'll not do the comments yet. I'll do the comments at the end if someone wants to jump in.
That's also for Sarah. It's the question I've put in the chat as well. Why would you not make a free community and a paid community separately, basically?
So I'm not going to step on Sarah's toes because Sarah's doing what she's doing and she has reasons for doing it. I did have 2 communities when I started this. So the first 3 weeks, at the end of the 7-day challenge, I was like, hey, do you want to take the next step? And do you want to ascend into the paid community? And I didn't like it. It was so much friction. And because we do so much coaching for our people every single day, I wanted to have like a level of commitment from people in the form of a free trial. So that was the first thing I wanted. Like, same way Tyler paid $1, I wanted people to pay something. And so putting your card on file for a 7-day free trial is a form of payment. Like, you are committing something. And so what that means is people are more likely to take action. They're more likely to get results because they put themselves on the hook. And in the back of their head, that 7-day number is actually very helpful because they're like, oh, I got to like make sure I do this, to make sure I get the result before the 7 days. Once they get the result at the 7 days, they can then make a very clarified decision of whether or not they want to continue or not. And the second reason is because there was so much momentum and activity and excitement inside the community. And then I would send our best people to a paid community. And all the excitement and all the momentum was gone. And it was just Tyler in there by himself being like, womp, womp, womp. And then from an operational perspective on my end, I just love simplicity. Like, the biggest thing Sam taught me was the power of simplicity. And so having one community to rule them all, especially now that Skool is releasing a whole bunch of features where you can have tiers inside the community, you can have subscriptions inside the classroom. I just love the idea of having a space where everyone can be together and learn. And because my niche is, freedom from negative screen time, it's a big space where we can cover lots and lots of topics in the one place. And so that's why I did it that way. And Louisa, it's a 7-day free trial to join the community. And then afterwards, it jumps to $99 a month. And so that's why the 7-day trial is free. You can do the 7-day challenge for free. And if people stay on longer by an accident or they forget to cancel, if they send me a message, I'll refund them right away, because maybe, to use some of your guys' language, I just think, why would you not give someone a refund? Like under no circumstances do you benefit from fighting someone for a refund. And I just think unleashing that positive energy to the world is just it's only going to come back to you in a good way.
I agree with Matthew specifically for his, there are going to be niches where, and especially if you have some sort of following, Matthew, he kept his a secret for several weeks from most of us school friends of his on purpose, I have a feeling. But then since it's been more public, he's been getting, and he's sent invitations too, but to purposely try to iterate things without all of us crazy schoolers in there. But for me, I started a free space because I started from scratch. Right? I didn't have a social media following. I didn't have, all I had was people on Skool, so I guess that wasn't completely from scratch, but that's where I started over a year ago when I started this free space. And then I did do a low ticket, and I found some beta clients for my high ticket offer and just kept moving and grooving. I also situated it to where the engagement and the chat, the bulk of the community itself stays in the free space. So my low ticket, I may merge the two of them once tiers drops. We'll see how it drops, because I would still like to have a tiny separate space to brainstorm what, we cover for topics and things like that in the low ticket. But the bulk of the community stays in the free, except for some implementation or specific strategy that's specifically for that. The low ticket is just more access to me, weekly calls, and we do guest speakers now, and we do chat some in there, and there are extra classroom things in there and the intensives recordings, but all of the community stays in free. That's why I'm able to operate that. And my high ticket is completely one-on-one. There's nothing in the community there. There's nothing in the classroom. It's just a paywall. And then we set up a one-on-one call. So technically I'm kind of operating on a freemium model in 3 different spaces, But like that's just how I operate, because I want everybody, like if somebody wants to like chat and hang out, like that's what the free space is for. Like that's what it's there for. So that's why I have done it the way I have done it. Will it always stay that way? I have no idea. I have no idea what the future holds. And maybe
and for context, Sarah, really interestingly, like I had a gentleman, a young man in the community, he expressed, I was talking about him earlier, he was like, hey, I want like the next level of the offer. I was like, what do you want? How much would you pay? He's like, yeah, I'm ready for a $9.99 a month. This is what I want it to look like. I was like, dope, like let's go. And so inside the same space, because my plan was to do like a back-end mastermind, Diana, where like we would have like these Irish castle retreats, and it would be for entrepreneurs making over a certain amount of money, and it's how to bring, you know, screen time, distraction-free principles to your working life and all this sort of stuff. And I was going to do it in a separate community. And then literally I watched the episode of Skool News, I think last week or the week before, and they're like, yeah, like you can just do everything in one space. And then this dude inside the space was like, I want this. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to like do it in here. And then the crazy thing is, and I never thought about, this young man, he came in on an affiliate. And so when he upgrades to the 999, his affiliate is going to get $400.
I love that.
So what an awesome affiliate strategy as well, because this community, like I already know 95% of it will come through affiliates. I have no desire to make content. I have no desire to run ads. I really want to nail that kind of like network effect that we spoke about. But like how exciting that his affiliate is just going to get like $400 landing into his Skool account because he invited him to a free 7-day challenge. It's so exciting.
I just wanted to say, maybe you've been the first person who really utilized the drip feature well. So because like I always found it really, really not usable, especially the daytime out, because if you just join a space and then you have no urgency, so but the combination with the 7 days, you create the urgency with that.
Yep.
That is almost genius. So just like kudos for that one. So really, really like that.
Yeah, and a really interesting little tactic. I know I said I like my strategy guide, but here is a tactic. If you're doing something like this, make sure that you're actually 2 days ahead of your drip. Because if someone joins your community at 11 p.m. their time, does the first day, wakes up at 6 a.m. in the morning the day after, and is ready for day 2, and it's locked, they have to wait until 11 p.m. So you actually want to drip 1 day ahead to make sure that you enable people to do that. That was just a little trial by error thing.
Yeah, and Sarah and me, we had that just like what is counted as a day on Skool depends on your local time zone on top. So that is also a fun thing. So we just had that yesterday. Like, so, oh, you've been here before me. So, no, I've been here on the same day. So no, mine thing is showing something differently. So that's been just like really, really fun. I wonder where's the differentiation, because like you have a massively measurable result, what many of us don't, because depending on what you offer, if you offer what I would say like the classic offer masking whatsoever, and you know, like we are in Europe, you know, like it always has a taste to it if you can't make it measurable. So I rather don't, because I don't want to fall in the same bucket than all those people who caused that massive loss of trust that you just mentioned, because like they overpromise things that you actually have zero control over, because it doesn't. You find just like a sweet spot with like you make it measurable. So I wonder like what your rabbit out of the box thing would be if you have like a good progress you can promise, yet you can't promise a measurable result.
What's your niche? What's your offer? Like, what's your promise?
So the question was meant more in general. So for me right now, it's who are you in your business? So it's a mix of, yes, I help you getting to wherever you want to go. Yet, I also learned being a strategist, most people are not there where they can start.
Right, sure.
You know, like every blueprint you get, it's telling you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and as a -1, -2, -3, -4 is missing. And you don't need to wonder that you can't walk that path, because navigation means from A to B. You have a shiny idea of B, and you have zero idea of A. So that is one thing. And what I have in my community is like things that makes it measurable, but only for you. And I can't give that general thing, because that is literally exactly what I'm promising. So I promise you that you can measure what you want to do. I can't tell you the general result, because I don't work on that scale thing. You mentioned with sell, but it's not scalable. Here I am. So, because that is not
I think like to speak generally without like really diving deep into like the transformation that you truly offer, I think that the secret is to try to make the immeasurable measurable. And so if you're asking me like, what is my true goal for this community? It's, I want people to not get divorced. I want kids to not grow up with their parents not being present. I want like human relationships to be reconciled and restored. You can't put that on an about page. And so even the vision is to cut 1 billion hours of screen time. And I see it in like Mary Beth's face when I say it. She goes, whoa, because it's measurable. But if I say, I want to help fathers and mothers be more present with their families, everyone's like, womp, womp, womp. And so, rabbit out of the hat, Diana, like, let's just pretend that I understand exactly what it is that you're doing. Let's say that it is to help people get clear on their offer, okay? Just as an example. How do you define that? How do you measure that? You can't. So what if you say, okay, by the end of this 7 days or whatever, you will have a published website saying exactly what it is that you do. So now you have like a tangible thing that they have, and you might actually have to step back and be like, you know what? They don't actually even really need that, but it's a forcing function to get all of their copy and all of their bullet points like super dialed in because they have to ship their work. And that is a Seth Godin thing. You have to ship your work. Otherwise it doesn't exist. And so, is it a business plan? Is it I've emailed 5 people? Is it a blah, blah, blah? But there has to be a tangible output. And you will know in your head, this output might not matter, but it matters to them because it is proof that they have done something. They can hold something at the end of the week and say, look, mom, I made an about page. Be proud of me. And in that process, you actually will have given them something of incredible value. So I know it's quite general, but try to find something that is immeasurable, something that makes it immeasurable measurable. And, one of Hermosi's favorite businesses and my favorite businesses is a guy called Dave Ramsey. He helps people get out of debt. And his logic, you cannot beat Dave Ramsey's logic. No skeptic European can even battle his logic. His logic is this. If you don't spend $5, you will have $5. You can't beat that. And it's like, if you don't spend 15 minutes on your phone before you go to bed, you will have 15 minutes of extra time in your life. It's like, bro, you can't argue it. And so it's trying to find a way as much as possible with your niche, as esoteric and ephemeral as it is. How do you make it real? How do you make it tangible? And that's the work that you got to do, I guess.
Yeah, it for sure will not be the website because that is one of the first things I try to talk them out. So
100%,
that would be just
100%.
terrible. But
Yeah.
I do have one metaphor that actually really resonates with people is when you see the path clear in front of you, it's not yours.
Mm.
And that gives a lot of people massive peace of mind and a permission slip that they really have the freedom to go there. It's more like a reverse psychology thing, like the thing that you think you need and you struggle so much with it might be really not the thing you're looking for.
Totally. And that's the Trojan horse, right? And even like in our program, like month 1 is all about like tactics that you can take. Yes, it's part of a larger strategy. But then all of a sudden, month 2, it's like, well, why do you spend so much time on screens? What is it that's behind the behavior that makes you want to escape this beautiful life that you've been given in the first place? But we don't start there. We also free up their minds so they can get to the point where they're able to actually think about these things. And so, yeah, I don't know how that transmutes to your thing, but...
Oh, perfectly, because I work with resources. People compare themselves so much.
Yeah.
And I work with resources and just show them that we all have different ones. And there might be a lot of they haven't ever even tapped in. So, and that is just changing the game in a sense of, if you have 10% to give and you give these 10%, you actually have given 100% because that is all you had.
Right.
And stop comparing you to all the people who have different circumstances.
Yep.
It's been amazing. I could keep going, but I know Matthew has other obligations and calls to do today, so I didn't want to keep him too long. Thank you, Matthew, for joining us and chatting all things school. Like, yes, about your dream passion project, but also like giving tips and tricks and things like that. For anybody watching the recording or on YouTube, I'll put the link to check out Matthew's screen time challenge space in the comments or in the description. And thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Matthew, so very much.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Generally, it's fun to dance in your space. Great questions too. I love it. I love getting the old brain going, so you kept me on my toes, that's for sure.